what does productivity look like for a woman? How do we tune in to our most productive times? Because this is very different. Understanding that the 24-hour cycle, the cycle of the sun, is how the masculine body works. And women work very differently, not just the masculine, the male body works. It's the male cycle. The female cycle operates on a completely different schedule. And so many women, I see this in my women's circles, I see this in my one-on-one work. I know that this was true in my own life. We're exhausted. We're trying to operate in a system that was not built for us. And when you understand how you function, what you need, and you start speaking the language of your body while learning how to function with the current demands of society, everything shifts. You experience more radiance, more productivity, more joy, more bliss. And this is what this video is for, because I just had a conversation with a friend who expressed her confusion, and it broke my heart, honestly, when I heard it. And this is something that I want to bring in here, because I want to see more women radiant, embodied in their beauty and their magnificence, because that changes the world. So let's dive right in. I am incredibly excited for this video, because this is one about women. And you may be a man listening in here to understand maybe the cycle of your partner or your sisters or your mothers or your friends. And you may be a woman listening to this who wants to have more understanding, more connection with herself. All right. This topic is not just for women. I believe it's important for all of us to understand each other, to understand how the other one functions, so that we can be there to support each other. I spent years and years studying the masculine archetype, studying the masculine, the inner work from the masculine aspect. Because first of all, it's important for me, as we all have that inner feminine and inner masculine energies. And it's important for me to understand, how does my inner masculine work? Because for the balance, you need to strengthen both. Both need to be really strong. So you have to become aware. But also understanding the needs and the concepts, the way of thinking of the men in my life. I have a young son, it's like also friends. It's important so that we can be there for each other. So the same is true for men. I believe this is really beneficial to understand how the women's cycle works. Now, the unfortunate truth, and this was me in the past, is that we can't explain this to men because we don't know it. Because most women are so disconnected from their own cycles, from their own natural rhythms. We've been taught to deny them. We haven't been taught to honor them. We don't even know what they are. So we can't explain something that we don't know. And this is what this video is for. I was recently speaking to a friend of mine, and suggested to her, as it was this, okay, I'm not producing and I feel like I'm supposed to be productive, but I'm not. And I go, where are you at in your cycle? And explaining to her that you're not supposed to be operating on the male 24-hour cycle. That's not like, the male body needs 24 hours to reset. They go with the solar cycle. Women, we go with the moon cycle. That's 28 days or more depending on your cycle. So it's not the same level of productivity. Or rather, it's the same level of productivity. We're going to get to that in a moment, because some women freak out. What? I only have like a week of productivity? No. So it's not the exact same way that we function. And so trying to live up to the standards of a male body is going to destroy you long term. That's why so many of us feel exhausted. We feel disconnected. We don't know how to connect with our bodies, because we're putting way too much pressure on our body that's not built this way. And so I suggested to her to look into working and living according to your cycle. Now, I completely understand that I am not in a corporate environment. I have worked, in an office in the past and for a marketing company, and I understand deadlines. I understand you can't be like, I don't feel like working today. You got to be there and you got to show up. I understand what this is like. I have clients in my women's circles, my one-on-one clients who are in those environments. And even for them, it is possible to adjust your cycle in such a way, rather to adjust your life in such a way that matches your inner rhythm, your natural rhythm, your cycle. So this is a bit more depth and this is so individual. I don't want to go too deep into this here because it's not so black and white as whenever we are in our bleed, that's when we're going inward and we don't want to see anyone. For me, for example, that's not true. The week before, it's that, like, stay away from me, I will rip your head off. But then as soon as I bleed, I'm like, I'm productive, I'm excited, I'm ready to create. That is not the case for many women, but it is for me. So this is very individual. However, it is important to understand that you go through 4 seasons in your cycle. So in the 28 days or however long your cycle is, you do go through the winter, the spring, the summer, and the fall. And it's important to understand which season are you in. Okay, so for me, I would say it is still true that I'm actually like that with the seasons as well, the natural seasons. Like in winter, I'm like, okay, it's an inwards. Like, yes, there's a lot of reflection, but I'm really excited to create. In summer, when it's hot and it's like those, like the sun is always out, I'm like, I'm not in creating mode. And in the fall, it is more of an inward, like, get away from me. We just went through the harvest and I'm just like, I need a reset. And so that also works for me in that context. So noticing what are your 4 seasons, at which stage of your cycle, right? There are 4 weeks, 4 stages. Which one matches which season for you? So summer, maybe usually it's, summer is like ovulation. So we're outgoing. That's when we were presenting things, that when we can give speeches, we want to mingle with people. We're out there in the summer. Spring is when you're creating, maybe projects, you're thinking of ideas, you're brainstorming. Like, again, I'm thinking of, a work environment, how to apply it to that. There's a way to schedule these things in without taking away your productivity. Now, what I want to emphasize this video on is the conversation that I have with my friend, as I suggested to her to look into that and don't beat yourself up for, I'm not productive all the time. It's like, you're not supposed to be. You're a woman. You're not a machine, okay? You're not in a male body. You're in a female body. And so it's a completely different language. It's a different way of being. And the following week, we speak again, and she goes, I really like that, and it really worked for me, and I kind of didn't feel so bad when it was my cycle time, my bleed, and I was like, it's okay for me not to produce it, it's okay for me to take it gentle. And also, and here's what she said, I realized looking at the cycle, there's quite a good amount of productive time as well. I think her exact words were, there's not so little of productive time as I thought. And in that moment, my heart broke. And I took a breath and I asked her to pause and to reflect on something. We look at our cycle because it's very subtle, but even in those words, the comparison between the male cycle. Oh, well, every day you show up and boom, 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 every single day. And okay, well, I mean, it's not as productive, but I mean, it's still a good amount. This is still nice. And in those words, like diminishing the feminine cycle, which is, by the way, not true. I'm going to get into that in a moment. Noticing the subtle ways in which we're comparing and understanding that it's very, very different. The way women produce and create and manifest, even, if we're talking about sales, the way women sell is very different. It's from pleasure, it's from alignment, it's from excitement, it's from joy, it's from that radiance. It feels good. It's like you can be on vacation and selling and creating and producing. For the masculine energy, it's not like that. It's more about going for it and achieving and overcoming and like, yeah, let's go and let's do the grind. And it's very different. So first of all, even that, it's like, okay, I can't be in this mode. for most of the month. It's like, you're not supposed to. You're not supposed to. And don't get me wrong, it's so exciting to be sometimes in that masculine energy of like, setting, like, pushing through something, or like I'm thinking of like a difficult workout and like, yeah, I accomplished it. And there is that dopamine from that, and that does feel good, but that's not the majority of, I'm thinking like, food. It's kind of like you may get a substantial amount of nutrients from this thing, but actually like most of your plate, the grains, like there's so much in that though that you deem as unimportant. And that's actually where the whole importance is. So in that moment, as she said that, I asked her to take a pause and reflect. And I asked her, tell me something. Do you beat yourself up at night for going to sleep, saying, oh, well, I should be more productive right now. Why am I going to, it's midnight. I should be creating something right now. Why aren't I don't know, remodeling my house? Okay. No, because we've been taught, it's been programmed into us that we need 8 hours of sleep, and that's actually productivity. When you're deprived from sleep, you can't be as productive. So do you see sleeping as not being productive? It's like, well, no, I need it to function, so it is a productive time. Right. And yet somehow we do not translate that to the female cycle. It's like, oh, okay, this week when I'm just supposed to rest and go inward and go into pleasure and allowing, that's a waste of time. And again, comparing the two cycles. So we have the 24-hour cycle. Somehow those 8 hours are not a problem. But then when we have the female cycle, somehow that week is a problem. That week is what is necessary to reset. That week is what is necessary for you to create with the same, if you zoom out a month, right? Again, the masculine operates on 24-hour cycle. We operate 28 days. If you zoom out, she is no way less productive than he is. She did not accomplish less in that month than he did, maybe even more. But day to day, we don't see that. And right now we need to shift into a, short-term versus long-term vision. As our egos are progressing, as we're evolving in our consciousness, understanding that no, success is not measured in how much did I achieve here? It's like, great, you feel great here, but what does that look long-term? That's what matters. And so it's the same with our cycle. Taking one day of, oh, well, I was down today because I was just receiving and feeling amazing, but I didn't accomplish anything. You accomplished everything in that day that you dedicated to yourself. On a side note, this is a whole different video and a whole deeper topic. Let me know below if you want me to make more content on this. When, that week we're like, oh my God, I'm so hormonal, or I have these cravings, or there's like, that only happens when you don't give yourself that rest. I know for me, I schedule out the week that I'm like, this is the week where my body, whatever you want to eat, you eat it. There are no rules. And when I gave her that freedom, it wasn't like, okay, let's like eat it all. It was actually like, oh, okay, I'm good. Maybe like this, like junk food. And for me, junk food is like cheese and, dairy, because I don't consume that, or bread. Like that's my junk food. So it's like, okay, and this week I can have it. And she doesn't go crazy with it. It's like, okay, but she likes that freedom. Same with the emotion. Same with, okay, this week you have the freedom to just like cancel whatever if it doesn't feel in alignment. So giving yourself that space, knowing how you function. Notice how it's not all month long like this. But that freedom is very necessary in those times of stress. It's similarly as if you were in a partnership and your partner is going through a tough time at work. They have their workload is crazy. Aren't you going to help them that week? Maybe cook something or get takeout, or just try to make life easier for them. Knowing that they're under a lot of stress that week, and be like, yeah, well, I was expecting for you to do this. Like, why aren't you functioning as normal? It's like, that they're under more stress than usual. So the expectations wouldn't be the same. Why do you not do that in relationship with your own body? Why do you not do that in relationship with yourself? Because we weren't taught to. because we were not given permission to. And hopefully with this video, a little bit of that will change. So as my friend said that, well, I actually realized, we have those 2 weeks. They're pretty productive. I said, you don't have 2 weeks. You have 28 days. They're all productive. Sleep is not a waste of time. It's all productive. Those weeks of going inward, they are crucial for you to create. In ancient cultures, women and their cycle, they would retreat all together, and they would come out of that where they would be in a community of women. They would come back to their village, bringing wisdom, bringing knowing to their communities. It was a time of sacred connection, of renewal, of intuitive knowing that was honored. And just because our current society does not honor that, it is not an excuse for you to not do the same as your ancestors did. Honoring your body, honoring your cycle, and seeing what happens when you nourish yourself and how that comes back to you 10 times. Taking a deep inhale in, connecting to your body, loving your body so much. The magic, the miracle that is your body. So attuned to the natural rhythms of life. So powerful. And if this is something that you want personal support with, I do this with my one-on-one clients, with women. If that's the way they want to go, we go into how do we work with your cycle, teaching that, allowing spaciousness, and tuning into how do we bring productivity with fulfillment, with joy, with moving forward and strengthening that masculine and the feminine within. So there's a free clarity call link if you want to go deeper into this. Let me know what you heard me say. Let me know what landed. What did you hear? I want to hear from you. What could your life be like if you were more in tune and in love with your body and with life itself through your body? Many blessings.